Ms. Stone, any issues before the jury comes back in?
Your Honor, briefly, I know that when the court took the media request for filming at the beginning of this case, there were different media present than there are now in the courtroom, and I'm not sure all of the same information has been relayed to other media in the courtroom. So I would ask the court to maybe refresh the rules for media as it relates, especially as we're moving into the 15 months coming up in terms of testimony.
All right, thank you. Mr. Kading, do you have any preliminary issues for the court?
No.
Mr. Larry? All right, the only media organization that has any permission to record this proceeding in any fashion is Court TV. No other media agency organization has requested permission from the court to record this proceeding, and therefore is prohibited from recording this proceeding unless and until they were to make such a request and understand any limitations that the court might place upon the proceeding. Members of court administration have viewed portions of what is happening here in the courtroom. I have not, and I will not, while this case is pending. It has been reported to me that Court TV is appropriately following all of the court's parameters on the proceeding in every fashion. And so clearly they are, with permission, live streaming this matter and following the court's directive. So in any way that I need to, I do not need to remind them of what the requirements are because they are in fact following it, and no one else has permission to record this proceeding in any fashion. Does that address your issues?
It does, Your Honor, and I just wanted to be clear, I also have not watched, I have no intention to watch or look, but I have not had any reports from anyone as to Court TV. We've had multiple communications with Court TV in advance of this. They've been nothing but accommodating and understanding based on minor victims as well as the victim in this case, or excuse me, minor witnesses, as well as Miss Ali in this case, who has just recently turned 18. I think that they are aware of that, but they also understand that at the time of these events, she was a minor, and she also, for all of the reasons the court previously ruled, is not to be recorded. They understand that. I just wanted to make that very clear for other media as well.
All right, thank you. Finally, before we bring the jury back, right before I came out on the bench, I was provided a copy of the proffered information, so I have not looked at that yet. If we conclude, is it?
In 24, where were you going to school?
Timberline High School.
Okay. And what grade were you in October of 2024?
What's it called? Freshman year? Sophomore year.
Okay. Is this your first time testifying in front of a big crowd?
Yes.
Okay. And if you could just speak up a little bit more. Okay.
Yeah.
And Elijah, I take it as summer break right now?
Yes.
Okay. And what are you doing during summer break?
I'm currently working and enjoying my summer.
Okay, fair enough. And Elijah, in October of 2024, what time does school get out each day?
2 p.m.
Okay. And back in October of last year, how do you normally get to school each morning?
My parents would drop me off.
Okay. Are there times where you would take the bus as well?
Occasionally, yes.
Okay. And when you do take the bus, are you taking the school bus or the inner city transit bus?
The inner city transit bus.
Okay. How do you normally get home from each day from school?
From my parents or the inner city transit bus.
Okay. And with regards to the inner city transit bus, are there any IT bus stops around Timberline High School?
Yes, there are.
Okay. And how many?
There's one right in front of it,
Okay.
and then another one down the road.
Okay. And Elijah, I'm going to ask you some questions about an incident on October 18th of last year. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. And did you go to school on October 18th of last year?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And after school was done for the day at about 2 p.m., where did you go?
To the bus stop right outside of the school.
Okay. And is that the IT bus stop?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And why did you go to the bus stop?
So I could get home.
Okay. When you got to the bus stop, was there anyone else there, or were you the only were you the only person there?
There were the other students there.
Okay. And did you recognize any of the students?
I know it's hard, and I don't know if you can scoot just a little bit
I'm
closer.
sorry.
It's okay. We just want to make sure that everyone can hear you, okay?
Yeah.
The microphone also, you can twist it up a little bit so if it's easier. Okay. You indicated that you, when you got to the bus stop, you recognized your friend. Who were some of your friends that were at? Jacob, were there other students that were at the bus stop? While you were at the bus stop, did something out of the ordinary happen?
Yes.
Okay, and what did you observe happening?
I observed a girl getting attacked by an adult.
Okay, and the girl that you indicated that got attacked, do you know who she is?
Yes.
Okay, back in October of that day, did you know who she was?
I had heard of her. Yes.
Okay, were you friends with that girl?
No.
Okay, and do you know what her name was?
Fatima, I think.
Okay, and you indicated that Fatima was at the bus stop. Was there, you indicated she was getting attacked. The person that was attacking her, was it a male or a female?
It was a male.
Okay, and have you ever seen that male prior to October 18th?
I have not, no.
Okay, and with regards to that male, did he appear to be older than Fatima or younger?
Older.
Okay, and with regards to Fatima, you indicated that on October 18th of last year that you have heard of her. Had you ever seen her around prior to October 18th?
Yes.
And where had you seen her?
I'd seen her at school every day.
Okay, and was that Timberline High School?
Yes, it was.
Okay, and when you got to the bus stop, was Fatima already there, or did she arrive later?
She had already been there.
Okay, when you first got to the bus stop, you indicated Fatima was already there. What about the older male? Was he already there?
Yes, yes, he was.
Okay, and after you first got to the bus stop, what was Fatima and the older male doing?
Kind of arguing back and forth.
Okay, and could you understand what they were arguing about?
No, I could not.
Okay, was it in English?
No.
Okay, and with regards to Fatima and the older male, you indicated they were arguing back and forth. If you didn't know what they were talking about, how did you know they were arguing?
The body language and then the tone of voice was very hostile and aggressive.
Okay. When you say it was hostile and aggressive, whose tone of voice was hostile and aggressive?
Kind of just both.
Okay. And when they were arguing, was there anybody else involved in that argument?
Her boyfriend had been involved.
Okay. And who is Fatima's boyfriend? Have you seen Isaiah prior to October 18th?
Yes, I have.
And where had you seen Isaiah?
In his neighborhood.
Okay. And do you know what school Isaiah goes to?
Timberline
Okay.
High School.
And are you friends with Isaiah?
Acquaintances.
Okay. I know you're very soft-spoken.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. If you could just remember to speak up. You indicated that when you arrived at the bus stop, Fatima and her and the older male they were arguing. What, if anything else, happened while they were arguing?
It had appeared that she was trying to move away to like end the argument or just kind of settle it then and there.
Okay. And what did you observe that made you think she was trying to move away from the argument?
Well, Isaiah he had said that, like, while I was overhearing it, like, telling him that they were trying to leave, explaining to the father, and then that was kind of like the telltale sign.
Okay. And then what else happened while they were arguing?
That's all I really can explain for arguing, because that's all I saw.
Okay. So besides, you indicated that Fatima and the older male, they were arguing. Did the older male do anything else at the bus stop besides argue with Fatima and Isaiah?
He attacked Fatima.
Okay. You indicated he attacked Fatima. What did you observe?
I observed him push her boyfriend away and then go in for like a headlock, and then watched her try and take her down to the ground.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you a few follow-up questions. You indicated the older male pushed Isaiah away. How did he push Isaiah?
It was a push and then a punch.
Okay. And which part of Isaiah's body did the older male punch?
It looked to be upper body.
Okay. And when the older male punched Isaiah, did you hear anything when he did that?
Yes.
And what did you hear?
You could hear the thok from the punch connecting.
You can hear the what?
You can hear the thok from the punch connecting.
Okay. And then after the older male punched Isaiah, what happened to Isaiah?
I don't know.
Okay. When the older male punched Isaiah, how were they situated? Were they standing? Were they
They were
sitting?
standing.
Okay, they were standing. Okay. And after Isaiah got punched, was he still standing or did something happen to him?
I think he was standing.
Okay. And after the older male punched Isaiah, what did the older male do after that?
Turned around and put the girl in a headlock.
Okay. And when you indicated that he put the girl in a headlock, can mean different things to different people. What do you mean by a headlock?
It was like a two-hand headlock, one around the neck and then the other like that.
Okay, so you indicated you had your left arm sort of around your neck and then with your right arm pointed upward.
Yes.
Okay. And then when the older male put Fatima in a headlock, when he first did that, how were they situated? Were they standing? Were they seated?
When like the arms were first wrapped around, they were standing,
Okay.
and then they had like tripped, and then that's how they ended up on the ground.
Okay. And then when the older male ended up on the ground, what happened to Fatima?
She was there struggling and flailing, trying to get out.
Okay. when the older male first fell to the ground, was you indicated prior to that he had put Fatima in the headlock. When he fell to the ground, what happened to his arms?
I don't know, but they stayed in the headlock.
Okay, so they stayed in the headlock, and did Fatima remain upright, or did she also fall to the ground?
She had also fallen.
Okay, and after they ended up on the ground, where were the older male's arms?
Still around her neck.
Okay, and then after they ended up on the ground, what happened?
Can you rephrase it?
Sure. So you indicated that the older male put Fatima in a headlock, and then you testified that they tripped and they ended up falling. What happened? What were they doing after they ended up on the ground?
When they were on the ground, she had been trying to escape, and then he had been trying to hold her.
Okay.
And then there were multiple other students that came and tried to help and assist in like separating them.
Okay. You indicated that Fatima was trying to, believe you testified that she was trying to get out of that situation. What did you see that made you believe she was trying to escape?
There was a lot of screaming, and then like she was flailing like all over the place.
Okay. And while Fatima was flailing, what was the older male doing?
Still in the same position with his arms around her neck.
Okay. And then you indicated that there were other students as well. Did the other students at some point get involved?
Yes.
Okay. And what did the other students do when they got involved?
They were trying to pull the father like off of her.
Okay. And so you indicated they were trying to pull him off of her. Did they do anything else?
No, not that I could see.
Okay. And then did you get involved with the other students?
No, I did not. I had only recorded it.
Okay. And you indicated that when Fatima was on the ground, she was flailing. Did you also make any other observations about her body or about her face?
She had looked very pale and like kind of lifeless after she had been on the ground for a while.
Okay, you said she looked pale and she looked lifeless. What do you mean by she looked lifeless?
Well, after like 15-20 seconds of her being there, she had gone completely limp, and then her face was like pure white.
Okay. And you indicated that, Elijah, you testified that the other kids at some point got involved. After the other kids got involved, were they successful in getting the older male to release his arms around Fatima's neck?
The teenagers were not.
Okay. Besides the teenagers, did other people come and assist?
There was a bus driver and then 2 other adults that had stopped to help.
Okay. The 2 other adults that stopped to help, were they male or female?
They were both males.
Okay. And then after the other adults arrived to help, were they at some point successful in getting the older male to remove him from Fatima?
I'm not sure.
Okay. And at some point, do you know whether or not law enforcement showed up?
Yes.
Okay. You indicated that you recorded the incident. Why did you record the incident?
For this exact situation.
Okay. And Elijah, prior to your testimony today, did you have a chance to review video footage of what happened at the bus stop that was taken from the IT bus?
One more time, please. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay. So prior to you getting on the witness stand today, did you have a chance to review a video taken from the IT bus of this incident?
Yes, I did.
Okay, Your Honor, at this time, the state request to publish Exhibit 34, which have been previously omitted.
You may. So before you play it, can you indicate what view that you are publishing to the jury, since there are multiple views in this exhibit?
Yes, Your Honor. And Your Honor, the state is publishing the road view that is starting at the timestamp that actually started. Starting at 12:15.
Timberline High School.
For the record, I'm pausing it at 2:13:38. Elijah, are you able to see yourself in this video?
No, you're not.
Okay, and where were you standing when the incident was unfolding?
I'd been standing on the concrete slab just out of frame to the right.
Okay. And do you recognize any of the kids or the students that are being depicted in this video?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and the individual wearing sort of the grayish backpack that is in the center of the screen towards the right, who do you recognize that student?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and who is that? Starting the video again. Pausing it at 2:14:36. Elijah, do you see yourself in the video at this point?
No, I do not.
Okay, and you testified earlier you were sort of standing on the concrete slab area off to the right. Is that where you were still standing?
Yes, it was.
Okay, and you also testified earlier that a bus driver had stopped to assist. Do you see the bus driver in the video?
Yes, I do.
And what is the bus driver what does a bus driver have on?
The orange safety vest.
Playing again at 2:14:36.
Yeah, they're on their way.
Pausing at 2:15:49. Elijah, do you ever see yourself at any point in the video footage?
Not in this video, no.
Okay. And when the IT bus left, did you get on the bus or did you not get on the bus?
I got on the bus.
Okay. Elijah, you testified earlier that you also took a video of the incident yourself, is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. And did you at some point provide a copy of the video to a police officer from the Lacey Police Department?
That is correct.
Okay. Permission to approach the witness, Your Honor.
You may.
Elijah, I've handed you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 61. Do you recognize that?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
And do you know what is depicted on State's Exhibit 61?
I do.
And what is it?
It's the video evidence.
Okay. And is it the video that you took of the incident?
Yes.
Okay. And did you recognize any handwritings on the little white circle placard on Exhibit 61?
Yes, I do.
And what do you recognize about it?
It's my initial and then the handwriting.
Okay. And does it also have a date on it?
And the date as well, yes.
And was the date on there the day that you reviewed that exhibit?
That is correct.
Okay. And the video that's on that you viewed on that Exhibit 61, is it a accurate depiction of what you recorded from the incident?
That's correct.
And does it accurately reflect what you observed during the recording?
Yes.
Your Honor, the state at this time offers for admission into evidence Exhibit 61.
Any objection, Mr. Kading?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Larry?
No, Your Honor.
61 shall be admitted.
Permission to publish.
You may.
beginning. And Elijah, at the beginning of this video, we sort of see an individual on the ground with their arms sort of moving back and forth. Who was that individual?
It appeared to be Caleb.
Okay. With regards to the individual that was laying on the
Oh.
ground with their hands moving, who was that?
That was Fatima.
Okay. And you indicated that you also, well, let me ask you this question. Was Caleb also in the video?
That's correct.
And was he still the one wearing the gray backpack?
Yes.
Okay. Under permission to approach the witness.
You may.
Elijah, I've handed you what's been marked as States Exhibits 62 to 65. If you could just look at those to yourself and let me know when you're done looking through them.
I've finished.
And do you recognize those four pieces of documents?
Yes, I do.
And what are they?
They're screenshots from the video that I took.
Okay. And are exhibits 62 to 65 the screenshots? Do they accurately depict the what you had observed at the scene?
Yes, they do.
Okay, Your Honor, at this time, the state offers for admission to evidence exhibits 62 to 65.
Any objection, Mr. Keating?
No objection.
Any objection, Mr. Larry?
There.
62 through 65 shall be admitted.
Permission to publish?
You may.
And Elijah, I'm showing you what's been admitted as State's Exhibit 60, State's Exhibit 60, State's Exhibit 65. Do these screenshots have a timestamp on them?
Yes, they do.
Okay, and with regards to Exhibit 65, we see sort of person, sort of two people that's on the ground. Can you tell the jury who are the two people that are on the ground?
And the Ms. O was pointing to just above the middle of the image on the exhibit.
That had been Fatima, and then the other adult that had attacked her on the ground.
Okay. Exhibit 64. And again, we see sort of two individuals that is on the ground, that is sort of in the center, but the upper center of this image. Can you tell the jury who those two people are that are on the ground?
That is still Fatima and the other adult that had attacked.
Okay. And we also see somebody in the image that is also in the center, but towards the upper portion of this image, with a gray backpack. Who is that?
That was Caleb.
Okay. Exhibit 63. We see again, sort of two people on the ground. That is towards, again, the center, upper center portion of the image. Can you tell the jury who are those two people that are still on the ground?
That is still Fatima, and then the adult that attacked.
Okay. Exhibit 62. We sort of see in this image, there is a person that's on the ground. You sort of see her face in between the two legs. That is in the upper center portion of this image. Whose face is that?
Fatima.
Okay. And you testified earlier, Elijah, that when you observed what was happening on the ground, you indicated that Fatima, at one point, her face turned sort of white before she went, as you testified, lifeless. Is that sort of what's being depicted here?
Yes, this looks to be either of like when it happened or right before it.
Okay. You testified that there were other adult males that showed up at the scene at some point to assist. Do you know whether any adult females showed up?
Not that I know of, no.
Okay. And when you were video recording what was happening, were you mostly looking around to see what was going on? Were you sort of just concentrating on what was happening on the ground?
I was mostly focusing on what was happening on the ground.
Okay. And then once the bus driver and then the other two adult males showed up to assist, did you stop recording at that point?
I'm pretty sure, yes.
Okay. And then by that point, and after the bus driver walked away from the scene, did you end up going on the bus?
That's correct.
Okay. Thank you, Elijah. No further questions.
Mr. Kading, cross-examination.
No questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Leary, cross-examination.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for being here. What kind of work are you doing this summer?
I'm currently working at Chipotle.
How do you like it?
It's pretty good.
Hard work?
It's my first job, so yeah.
Hard work?
For the most part, yeah.
Okay. Just really briefly, so when you got back onto the bus, did it feel like the situation had kind of resolved itself?
Yes, but it still felt like there was a lot still going on.
Okay. In terms of the man, was he being detained?
When I had gotten on the bus, he still appeared to be on the ground or nearby.
Okay. And one of the adults was holding him down?
I'm pretty sure, yes.
Okay. And Fatima had been released?
I couldn't 100% see on the bus, so I'm kind of basing it off the video, but from what I can see, yes.
Okay. And so just better safe just as far as what you remember. So you don't necessarily have an independent recollection.
I do, but not to like the exact down to the pinpoint details.
Okay. I appreciate you coming in this morning. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Ms. Zoe, any redirect?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
May this witness be excused?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objection, Mr. Kading?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Larry?
No.
You are excused. You may step down. You're free to stay in the courtroom. our lunch break today. And in a moment, I'll have the bailiffs come forward to lead you back to the jury room, and then you'll be released for the lunch break. We will resume at 1:30 this afternoon. Thank you again, of course, truly for your time and your attention. Please remember all of the instructions that I've given you regarding your duties in this case. Thank you. Please be seated. I'm going to take about a 5-minute recess so that I can read the document that was handed forward related to Fatima Ali's testimony, so that I can be prepared to hear objections, requests for clarification, whatever the issues might be. So I'll be in recess for about 5 minutes. Thank you.
All rise. Court's in recess.
Please be seated. So my bailiffs just reported to me that as the jury was leaving for their lunch break, juror number 12 said to the bailiff, "I don't feel well. I'm not coming back." Today, she said, "I'm not coming back today," and left. And so that's an issue and a problem obviously from my perspective. And so we will need to address that issue. I'll let you think about that.
Can the court identify?
Yes, number 12 is the young woman who is the So I'll let the parties kind of just mull that over while we address the other issue. I have had an opportunity to review the document that I understand was provided to Mr. Leary and Mr. Kading by the state. The version I have is a 3-page document. Ultimately, I'm going to file this with the court since it's something that I'm looking at and considering. And I will start by hearing concerns and/or objections that was alluded to that you have regarding I think you said number 18, and then the 2 questions related to the trip that are the last 2 questions on this document. Mr. Leary?
And so just to clarify, as to the last one, I was going to get abused over there. That was my concern. And then also 18A, although there's only one under 18. My concern is, I know the court wanted to limit the res geste as to kind of what was going on with her in the days leading up to October 18th. My concern here is the things contained in 18A, specifically that it was an abusive household there was much arguing, fights and stuff, a lot of throwing stuff around. Male cousin hit me. I would complain, no one would do anything. It was normal for them. It was toxic, lots of heated arguments, people hitting each other and stuff. So my concern for that is that, from the sounds of it, well, we know she didn't tell her parents she didn't want to go or list reasons as to why. And so I analogize this to kind of in a self-defense case where the knowledge of the defendant as to the violent proclivities of the victim is only admissible if they have that knowledge. And so the fact that this wasn't communicated to my client as to why her daughter didn't want to go, to talk about things that are far afield that happened about at least a year or two before, is not res geste, and we're not gonna hear from the male cousin. It is collateral. I think the level of detail there is concerning, and the accusations are concerning and collateral, particularly given the fact that if she had said, Mom, I don't wanna go to Iraq because cousin name does 1, 2, and 3, can I not see him, can we do things? Then it becomes part of res geste, because it's communicated to Mom and Dad. There's an attempt to kind of neutralize it, and Mom and Dad weren't accommodating to my concerns about the abuse of the cousin. None of that is in play. So the fact that something happened allegedly 2 years before, 18 months before, that isn't communicated to my client as to why she doesn't want to go, so she feels that her only recourse is to run away. There was no attempt to address the concerns, and therefore I don't believe it's res geste, and I believe it's unduly prejudicial under 404B. And the generalization, I was afraid I was going to be abused over there, would be the same objection.
All right, thank you. Mr. Kading, do you have anything for the court's consideration as it relates to the information that I have in a 3-page document related to questions of Fatima Ali?
Your Honor, I'm going to take no position on this.
Okay. Ms. Stone?
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, as we've gone through this case, we've heard about Fatima being a runaway from her household. We've heard about her going to the school and speaking to the counselors at school and what that process looked like. We've also heard questions during the course of questioning, as well as during defense interviews. I anticipate that those will be re-raised about how the school responded to those requests, and plainly why Fatima was running away in the first place. Fatima has made it very clear since the outset of this case that she did not feel safe. She did not feel safe going back to Iraq. She had safety concerns within her own home, and she has expressed that on a number of occasions. Certainly in front of the jury, we have not discussed the other safety complaints that she had made to the school prior to these events associated with the other runaway events. We've not discussed the prior CPS reports that had been made. We've not discussed, and I don't intend to ask Isaiah about what he witnessed as part of that process, but Fatima has consistently expressed her fears about safety. In terms of this specifically, the way it has been presented and the way I anticipate it being presented, as if Fatima had some sort of special information that her parents had no idea about, and essentially, and it's not the right term, but she was just being bratty and running away that morning to try and foil these families' vacation plans. That is not what that situation was. The state should be entitled to present that. There is nothing that is presented in 18 that indicates her parents were striking her over there. Fatima specifically is not going to make that statement. She is discussing the abusiveness of that household itself. And notably, she has said during the course of that visit, when she was struck, she made those complaints to her family, and nothing happened. That spoke further to her fear that she does not have a voice in that environment, and she did not feel safe. That was a consistent feeling of her role in that household. She expressed that consistently. That was part of her fear that morning in leaving, and so I'm asking that she be allowed to express those generalized concerns as to the nature of her experience in Iraq and why she didn't want to go back, so that the jury has some context for that, instead of just saying she woke up that morning and decided she wanted to go see a movie with Isaiah instead, or whatever more trivial event that is proposed as, that somehow that's the reason she decided just to not go that day. That's not the case. That's not fair to Fatima. That's not fair to the presentation of both parties. It is not unfairly and substantially more prejudicial to defense counsel with those statements. So I would ask the court to allow Fatima to express that when she is testifying.
Thank you. Mr. Larry, anything further?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right. So these issues were addressed pre-trial in general as it relates to evidence that was going to be offered by the state and clarifying whether or not that was being offered pursuant to Evidence Rule 404B, as was checked in the omnibus order, versus then Ms. Stone clarifying at the time of the case management conference that it was going to be offered under the theory of res gestae, that being something related within the same transaction. I'm not going to repeat the ruling that I made at the beginning of trial that discussed case law and what res gestae is and anticipated to be. But of course, it must be very close in time to the event itself to be res gestae under the case law. And I would indicate that evidence that may be admissible, also the court needs to balance that under Evidence Rule 403 that indicates that although relevant, evidence may be excluded if its probative value is substantially outweighed by the danger of unfair prejudice, confusion of the issue, or misleading the jury. First of all, as it relates to what is currently called question 18, and it is on page 3 of the document that I am referring to. The anticipated answer by Fatima is very detailed as it relates to why she did not like visiting Iraq, because the question before 18 is, did you like visiting Iraq? And the response was yes and no, a little bit, or that's the anticipated answer. And then a request for her to explain why she did or did not like visiting Iraq. And that's where she explains, I liked certain portions of it, and then why she didn't like other portions of it. I would indicate that what happened the year before when she visited Iraq clearly is not res gestae because it's so far in time. However, what I have heard multiple times from the state is that what all of this really goes to, the detail goes to the fact that Fatima Ali did not feel safe traveling to Iraq. There are many reasons why she did not feel safe, apparently, but that is the bottom line as to why she ran away on the morning of October 18th. And so she can testify to that. But the details as to why she does not feel safe, other than the fact that she'll testify that she'd been there before, and based upon being there before, she didn't feel safe going back. That comes in, but not the details. I find that if for some reason the facts of what happened a year ago could be considered res gestae, I find that the details themselves, any probative value as to those details is substantially outweighed by the danger of unfair prejudice in this matter. And the state still has an ability to certainly argue what I'm hearing is part of the theory of their case, even with the way that I'm limiting how she can provide the information to the court. On the question, also on the third page, did this plan cause you any concern about returning? If she said yes, what were those concerns? And why? She indicated in part that she was worried about that she would be abused in Iraq. Because I am not allowing the detail in 18, and of course I can't tell her what to respond. I'm not trying to tell her what to respond, but her response may in fact be the same, that she doesn't feel safe as to how she would be treated. And I grant the request that she not be able to use the word abused, again, because I don't find that that is res gestae. And it gets into issues with more particularity about how she was treated by her parents, which is not being introduced in this trial. And again, if for some reason that was res gestae, I find that allowing her to use the term abuse, that she was afraid that she was going to be abused, any probative value is substantially outweighed by the danger of an unfair prejudice or confusion of the issues, because this trial is not about her trip to Iraq. And that is why I also believe that the jury could be confused if too many facts as it relates to her previous trip and how she viewed that were to be admitted during the trial. Ms. Stone, do you have any questions as it relates to my ruling on those issues?
I do not, Your Honor, thank you.
Mr. Leary? All right. And I'm not asking Mr. Kading because Mr. Kading had reserved, but do you have any questions about my ruling?
No.
All right. Also, I wrote on the copy of what was handed forward to me for my review, and so I would just ask that there be a clean copy provided. It doesn't have to be now, or it can't be now, but when we come back at 1:30. And I won't file that. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Leary. I will file that at the conclusion of Fatima Ali's testimony. Now,
Your Honor, I apologize. The parties have 1 moment to confer.
yes.
Thank you, Your Honor.
One other piece of information as it relates to number 12. First of all, occasionally the bailiffs will give me information about the jury that's not ultimately relevant for me to share. But I will share this since we're now talking about juror number 12. But that number 12 should be excused, and we should replace alternate number 1 to become juror number 12. I'm concerned if we were in recess this afternoon. We don't know if she's coming back tomorrow or not. I'm not indicating she's not ill either, but we don't have enough information. Of course, I could tell my bailiff that they need to call her and tell her she has to come back this afternoon. I don't know whether or not she would or whether or not she should, certainly if she is not feeling well. So I'd like to hear from the parties. And again, I'm just sharing those initial thoughts. I certainly don't have a firm conclusion at this point. Ms. Stone?
Your Honor, can we have just 1 moment?
Yes.
Obviously Ms. Zoe and I were talking about scheduling. We have talked over the last couple of days. I think we're actually moving through faster than we anticipated, so I am less concerned about our August 7th timeline now. I think there is a chance, a good chance that we could close the state's case by the end of next week or on July 28th, which gives us more buffer than anticipated. We've been trying to move people around and being very conscious about that. So plainly, I'll defer to the court. I think that we can make it work for today if the court wanted to break for the day, and also we have witnesses prepared that can go. The only timeline that I am trying to be really thoughtful about, quite plainly, is Thursday's testimony for Dr. Stankus. I know that she, in speaking with her last week, and I know that Mr. Caden can correct me if I'm wrong, she arrives, I believe, at SeaTac at approximately 10:40 in the morning, so we couldn't do her in the morning regardless, but she's intended to come from there to here. So the intent is to put her on right after lunch at 1:30. So that is to say, I think we can move people around and make it work if we wanted to break for the day, but we also have people ready to go. So I just wanted to let the court know that there are options.
All right. First of all, I appreciate that. Also, I appreciate the update as it relates to the potential completion of the state's case. The parties know that I'm very concerned of ensuring that we conclude by the date that we indicated we would be concluding for a variety of reasons as it relates to the logistics of this matter. Mr. Kading, as it relates to number 12.
Your Honor, my only concern is, I always expect jurors to be candid, and if she says she's ill, I would be maybe concerned that if she came back, she could spread that, we could have a bigger problem, but other than that, I think we have enough jurors. If we're only gonna go 2 more weeks, we have 3 alternates. I wouldn't object to using an alternate.
Mr. Leary?
I think the additional information provided by the court raises concern about, we are day 2 of testimony and
Day and a half.
day and a half. We're on the 2nd day of testimony, and she already communicated, that she didn't want to be here apparently, and then basically walked out from the sounds of it. So, and if she is sick, that's what we want people to do, right? So, I mean, either she doesn't want to be here and is going to make efforts to not be here, or she's so sick that she needed to get home, and thus tomorrow isn't out. So I think, given that we are going faster, I think makes me more comfortable using an alternate. So I would ask that we excuse juror 12 and proceed to 7.
All right. Ms. Stone, do you object if the court were to excuse 12 at this time?
I do not, Your Honor, no.
All right. At this time, I am going to excuse juror number 12 for the reasons we've already articulated on the record. And although I appreciate certainly what the state indicated as it relates to the length of the trial and the state's presentation of their evidence, things can change. We could run into other problems that could lengthen the trial, including someone who has to be here being ill or something like that. And so I will excuse number 12. I will do that when we come back into session at 1:30. And after I do that, then the bailiffs can notify number 12 that she's been excused. We'll move alternate number 1, who is currently seated closest to me in the chair where my bailiff is seated. We'll move that person into the number 12 chair, and then we will reposition the alternate number 2 juror, who is in the back row, farthest chair over, move that person to alternate 1, and then we'll move the alternate 3 up to the chair where alternate 2 is right now. But the logistical of moving them, we'll do that in the courtroom after I excuse the juror when we restart the trial. All right. Any further issues before we recess for our lunch break, Ms. Stone?
Your Honor, only, I'll let the court know that based on transportation, we are going to call Eric Price before